So, Nvidia founder and CEO Jensen Huang was in Mumbai last week.
Hello, Mumbai! Wow, it's so great to be here.
His visit caused a furor among the biggest names in India Inc. And why not? Nvidia is one of the most valuable companies in the world, and it frequently topples Microsoft as the most valuable company in the world. Nvidia's steep rise is synonymous with the rise of AI, which according to Huang himself, will be the driving force behind the next phase of digital transformation in India. India, that is the world's biggest pool of tech talent. According to the latest economic survey, India also houses 16% of the world's AI talent. Indeed, by Huang's own admission, a third of Nvidia's workforce is in India. It's a no-brainer that the software and fabless giant has big plans for this market, and it therefore came as no surprise when on Wednesday, Huang announced a partnership with India's most valuable business entity.
We're announcing that Reliance and Nvidia are partnering to build AI infrastructure here in India.
Absolutely.
So, what are Nvidia's overall plans for India? Which other partnerships is it looking at? How ready is India to benefit from the AI revolution? Going forward, can it provide the fruits of AI at scale to thousands of common Indians? And what are the challenges it faces in that path? We try to answer all this and much more in today's episode. It's Tuesday, the 29th of October. I'm your host Anirban Chaudhary. This is the Morning Brief. First up, I talked to my colleague Suraksha P, ET's tech tracker in chief. Hi Suraksha, very warm welcome to the Morning Brief.
Hi Anirban, thank you so much. It's so wonderful to be here.
Suraksha, let's start with Huang's visit to India and his plans for the market. Tell me everything.
So Anirban, a number of companies announced partnerships with Nvidia on the day of the AI summit. In fact, if you're a tech reporter, you were swamped with press releases that day talking about one or the other partnership. The major ones, of course, are with the Reliance Industries, the Tata Group, Infosys, L&T, and many other companies. You know, these partnerships also come at a time when the Reliance chairman has called out India as one of the biggest intelligence markets with the population scale and government push for AI in India. And, these tech partnerships ranging, up to 5 years. So a lot of excitement, a lot of enthusiasm showed by tech companies as, Reuters described it as Gen Sanity. So, a lot of optimism and a lot of excitement for his visit to India.
Suraksha, tell me a little bit more about the partnerships. Maybe taking each partner and telling me the scope of the work that is being planned.
Right. So the Indian IT firm TCS, it announced a 5-year partnership expansion. It launched an Nvidia business unit for industry-specific solutions. And it is basically going to give offerings to accelerate AI adoption for customers across the BFSI, telecom, retail, automotive businesses, and insurance sector. And this business unit will be apparently housed under TCS's AI Cloud Business Unit, and it will help it design and deliver curated AI adoption strategies. Now, the Bangalore rivals, Infosys and Wipro, they had also previously forged partnerships with Nvidia to offer enterprise AI solutions for their customers. But on the day of the AI summit, Tech Mahindra, it also announced the establishment of a center of excellence powered by Nvidia platforms. Now, this is to drive advancements in sovereign large language model frameworks, agentic AI and physical AI. And even LTTS isn't far behind. It unveiled an AI experience zone in Bangalore that is again built on Nvidia AI. Now, this will cater to clients in the mobility and technology segments. You also have Chennai headquartered Zoho. It laid out plans to leverage NVIDIA AI's accelerated computed platform. Now, this will include NVIDIA Nemo, part of its AI enterprise software, to build and deploy its LLMs in the SaaS applications. Now, if you recall, Zoho has already invested over 10 million in NVIDIA's AI technology and GPUs, and it plans to double this in the coming year. We also had a partnership being announced by Tata Communications. It unveiled a AI cloud infrastructure in tie-up with NVIDIA, and the first phase is likely to kick off by the end of 2024, is what they're saying. And this will make Tata Communications one of the largest NVIDIA Hopper GPU cloud-based supercomputer in the country. So these are all the slew of partnerships that Indian companies announced with NVIDIA.
And we announced that Yoda, that E2E, Tata Communications, and our other partners are joining us to build fundamental computing infrastructure here in India. And in just 1 year's time, by the end of this year, we will have nearly 20 times more compute here in India than just a little over a year ago.
Now, Suraksha, let's talk about the large language model that Reliance and Nvidia have said that they will work on. Tell me about that.
So, Anirban, this announcement actually came last year in September. So, this has been in the works for a while now, for a number of months. What they announced last year is that Nvidia and Reliance Industries, they will be collaborating to develop India's own foundational large language model, and this will be trained on the country's diverse languages that we have. Now, both the companies, they will work to build AI infrastructures, what they committed to even on stage when Mr. Ambani and Mr. Huang were on stage. Now, this, if you look at the order of magnitude that they are looking at, this is apparently going to be more powerful than the fastest supercomputer that India has today. As you know, this is as per the statement from Reliance itself that they made last year. NVIDIA will provide access to the most advanced NVIDIA GH200 Grasshopper superchip. And by the way, for the unversed, the GH200, it basically marks a fundamental shift in computing architecture that provides, exceptional performance and massive memory bandwidth. Now, this AI infrastructure will be the foundation of, a new frontier into AI for Reliance Geo Infocom, Reliance Industries' telecom arm. So, to serve the vast potential in AI, Reliance committed to creating AI applications and services for their 450 million geo customers. And they said that they will provide energy efficient AI infrastructure to scientists, to developers, to startups across India. They said that AI can help rural farmers interact via cell phones in their local language. They could get weather information and crop prices. It can help provide, at scale, expert diagnosis of medical symptoms and imaging scans where doctors may not be immediately available. And AI could also be used to predict cyclonic storms, using decades of atmospheric data. And, this would help those at risk to evacuate and find shelter. Now, this AI infrastructure, it will be hosted in AI-ready computing data centers that will eventually expand to a capacity of 2,000 megawatts. The execution and the implementation that will be managed by Geo, and it has extensive offerings and experience across mobile telephony, 5G spectrum, fiber networks. So Reliance is very eager to build its own large language model because this will power generative AI applications made in India for the people of India.
So, from everything that has transpired during his visit, it does seem Huang is pretty bullish about India, right?
So, Anirban, Huang elaborated on the evolution that the Indian IT industry has to undergo. That India has the potential to become, go from the back office to the front office of the world. He said that from an industry of
An
cost
industry of cost
reduction
reduction to an
it has to
industry of
go
innovation,
from an industry of
to an
labor, it
industry
has
of
to go to an
invention and deep
industry of
tech,
invention. And
an
from an
industry
industry
that
that
can
can
only make
only
money
make
when
money
you
when you spend
spend
hours, to an
hours, to an
industry
industry
that
that
can
can make
make
money
money
when
when
you're
you're
sleeping.
sleeping. That's the industry that he's certain India will become. And he said that he came expecting nothing, but he left with an incredible enthusiasm and optimism across the IT industry here, and all of the technology companies here, the CEOs that he mentors. He said that there's a determination to reinvent the IT industry and to take advantage of this generational opportunity, the once in a lifetime opportunity to reinvent, to take advantage of that. He said he saw that. So he's quite certain that this is what the Indian IT industry will become. Huang also said that India is very dear to the world's computer industry.
Very, very dear to the world's computer industry, central to the IT industry, at the center, at the core of the IT of just about every single company in the world. And so I hope to partner with all of you to enable India to be at the center of this new industrial revolution.
And that it is an excellent opportunity
And this
for
is an
India
extraordinary
to have
opportunity for
such a
India
large population.
to have precisely the conditions to have such a large population and large industry of computer scientists at a time when this industry, the computing industry, is going to become the intelligence industry, leveraging on everything that you have, leveraging on everything that you know, and your indigenous advantage, enormous amounts of data, a large population of consumers to drive that flywheel of intelligence to data, data to intelligence, intelligence to data, and have the national will to go do something about it. This is such an extraordinary time.
Like Suraksha said, Huang identified 3 areas where AI will transform industries. Sovereign AI, where nations use their own data to drive innovation, agentic AI, which automates knowledge-based work, and physical AI, which applies AI to industrial tasks through robotics and autonomous systems. Huang said that India is uniquely positioned to lead in all 3 areas. Now, sovereign AI is clearly the strongest of these pillars, and India is making initiatives on that front. For instance, the India AI platform. Launched by the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, it serves as a national AI portal to centralize resources, knowledge sharing, and updates, fostering a self-reliant AI ecosystem and uniting stakeholders across government, academia, and industry. India is funding projects to support the development of homegrown AI technology, focusing on fields like natural language processing for Indian technologies, healthcare, and agriculture. The National AI Strategy talks about this in detail. Overall, India is also working on strict data localization policies that require data generated in India to stay within the country. India has also initiated projects with the DRDO and other agencies to develop indigenous AI capabilities for national security. These projects focus on developing sovereign technologies in surveillance, cyber defense, and threat prediction. But what about democratizing AI? Can the fruits of AI be taken to every common Indian as an accessible and usable tech stack? Something on the lines of digital public infrastructure and digital public goods, or DPI DPG, that it has already implemented. To understand this, I spoke to Jaspreet Bindra, founder of AI and Beyond, and one of the foremost voices on AI in the country.
So look, Jensen Huang is a rock star. So wherever he goes, there's lots of news created, etc. And the same is happening in India. When he talks about sovereign AI, it's much more about, countries creating their own intelligence, as he puts it, sometimes their own large language models, or sometimes their own, local, contextually localized apps on top of AI apps, generative AI apps, etc. But I think to the question that you asked, in India, I firmly believe that there's a third way, a different way of doing sovereign AI, different from, say, what the US is doing, or China is doing, or even the Middle East is doing with Arabic LLMs, etc., which is to serve AI to 1.4 billion people in the same way that we served UPI, Aadhaar, all other digital goods, and therefore digitally transformed our country through the India stack and through a great public-private academia partnership. And I firmly believe, and I can elaborate that going further, that's possible in India.
Right. How do we do it?
Look, a lot of people much bigger than me, greater than me, are putting their minds to it, and they're trying. Long time back, about a year back, Anirban and I kind of used a term for it, which I called Jan AI rather than Gen AI. And Jan obviously means Janta. And the whole deal was that we don't want to have a digital divide. We have had a digital divide until DPG, DPI solved it to a large extent. We don't want to have an AI divide. I mean, you and I are immersed in ChatGPT and Claude and Gemini, etc. But if you walk down from whichever building you're in, walk outside and ask the local rickshawala, he has no clue that there's something called ChatGPT. Such powerful tools being created almost on a daily basis, not available to the general population. I think for India, it's much more possible for us to do something like DPI, DPG with AI at scale more than any other country. 4 reasons, quickly. Number one, we have experience with building a governance mechanism. We built UEI, etc., public-private kind of mechanisms to make this happen. Number two, we already have this whole digital network spread across and then India stack built. In many ways, we have to include AI in it rather than probably creating something from scratch. Number three, there is a will in industry and academia and the government to get in the compute, and that's what Jensen Huang will help in to bring in the kind of the GPU chips, etc., India AI mission, so that we have the compute. Number four and final is the fact that we have the talent. Some of the talent is dispersed across the world, but there is talent which can do it. I think the big question, and again, one can go deeper into that, is how do we get specific India contextual data to build something like Gen AI? But that also, I think, is possible if we have the will.
Right. What I also meant was, what are the, you spoke about the data and the talent, but can you elaborate on, what are the intrinsic qualities we have to build something like this? And, can you elaborate on how can Nvidia really contribute?
No, absolutely. See, when we built the DPI, DPG stack, it was done actually in partnership across not only government, academia, etc., but also big tech. That's why we have Google Pay. That's why WhatsApp payments, etc. And now Nvidia is very clearly a leading member of the big tech club and is arguably the leading AI infrastructure company in the world. Nvidia is obviously interested in India because it has the potential to be a big market. It already is a very, very big developer base, which would work on Nvidia's hardware and software. And so, some of the announcements that we saw, the 1 gigawatt data center with Reliance, the announcements that we saw with Tata, and I think that's what Nvidia can contribute, which is the massive compute power, the H100, Grace Hopper, Blackwell chips that only they make, and how they can sell them to India because there's a scarcity of those. Nvidia would be probably the single most important private partner that would be necessary to build a similar stack like we built the DPI DPG stack.
There's been a lot of news about who Nvidia is partnering with, from the Tatas to Tech Mahindra to now Reliance. Now, how significant are these partnerships and how can they contribute? And is India's AI industry ready for such partnerships and to benefit from them?
Well, to be very candid, I think we in India, while there's been a lot of noise until very recently, I think there has been much more noise and less action in building out AI in the country. The work
Right.
which is being done is, at a very high level. It's at, already the chat GPTs of the world are existing. What do we build on top of it? Sure, some companies like Tech Mahindra, Sarvam, etc., are trying to build their own semblance of large language models. But I think for India, the key is not to go and build another LLM. The key is that how can India, with its massive developer base, build a huge amount of applications which will solve India and emerging world problems based on the kind of language models which everyone is building. But to do that, it's very important that the infrastructure on which all of this will rest and the data, therefore, on which all of this will rest remains within the control, sovereign control in a sense of India. And so creating these 1 gigawatt kind of centers, which now have been announced, though the details are sketchy, which do not exist, frankly, in the country today. So far, the only thing which existed, in my knowledge, was a very small, Nvidia facility, Nvidia GPUs, which Yota, a Mumbai-based,
Right.
Mumbai-based data center had bought, but that's minuscule. I mean, the amount of it is like 1/100th of what, say, a Facebook has today. So I think we need that level of investments, gigawatt investments, to build the infrastructure on which I think we have enough innovation and talent which can build stuff on top. But it's in the infrastructure layer that these big companies that you spoke about, as well as Nvidia, can come in and help build that.
And what are the obstacles or challenges in India's path?
I think what is lacking is a couple of things. And Jensen Huang also pointed out one of these. One is that we don't have enough R&D, enough labs. He said there is no AI lab of repute which exists in India. And an AI lab is something which does basic research into AI, which could be research oriented to what India needs. So the fear is that while India is ready, we might repeat the same story of actually servicing AI for the rest of the world rather than creating our own. And that is I think a decision which together as a country we'll need to take as to which direction do we go in this massively scaling and hyper action that is happening in the AI world, and whether we kind of remain like we did to a large extent in IT. We remain services players, low value in a sense, large volume services players, or we actually are creating our own R&D, our own IP, our own next big AI applications on top of the infrastructure that needs to be built. And a key component of that is to build the infrastructure. And that's what I think the whole conversations with the government, with Jensen Huang, etc., were happening. In fact, just to complete, Anirban, I also read somewhere, I don't know how true is that, but Jensen Huang was invited to address the cabinet on AI. And I think that's a very welcome move, because at those levels, if people understand what this technology is and what India can do, then I think we have the ingredients to do it.
When I met Modi ji, the first time he asked me to meet his cabinet was this has got to be about 6 years ago. He asked me to address his cabinet about artificial intelligence. And I was so surprised. It was literally the first time any government leader, any national leaders asked me to address his cabinet on this particular topic. It was long before anybody was talking about artificial intelligence. And my last visit with him, he said it makes complete sense that India should manufacture its own AI. Manufacture your own AI. You should not outsource. You should not export data to import intelligence. He said that artificial intelligence has the ability to elevate the entire population of India. And if AI could be put into the hands of every citizen, it would elevate and put into the hands of everyone this incredible capability you and I get the benefit from, called computers. And this computer could now benefit everybody in society. Let's make it a promise today that we will work together so that India could take advantage of the intelligence revolution that's ahead of us.
That's it for today. You were listening to this episode on The Morning Brief. It was produced by me and sound designed by Amrit Reggie. The Morning Brief drops every Tuesday, Thursday and Friday on a listening platform of your choice. Also, please don't forget to listen to the latest episode on ET Wealth and Beyond, where ET's markets editor Nishant Vasudevan talks to Amisha Vora of Prabhudas Leeladhar and Lakshmi Iyer of Kotak Alternate Asset Managers about the rise of the woman investor. The series is available on the website etwealthandbeyond.com and on all listening platforms where you get your podcast. Keep listening. Please note that we are taking a break for the rest of the week and we'll be back on Tuesday, that is November 5th, with the next episode. This is your host Anirban Chaudhary signing off. Have a happy, safe, and to the extent possible, environment-friendly Diwali. Thank you. All clips used in this episode belong to their respective owners. Credits are mentioned in the description.